Hey, what's going on, guys and gals? Welcome back to the neighborhood. I am John, your favorite neighbor kid, and I'm coming back again to play a little bit more Starbound Frackin Universe today. Last time we left off, we did a little bit of continued building and our prototyping for our apartment units that we want to put into commission eventually. We're going to wait on that. You know, I've gotten a couple opinions already, and it's actually looking. I really like you guys. I like hearing your opinions. So you know, throw them my way if you still haven't said anything. If there's anything that you want to say, and then we did a little bit of some challenge room stuff, and that was pretty good. Pretty good time. I finally gotten rid of those challenge rooms that I had been waiting for a while to use. To show off, or at least record on camera anyway. Today I was thinking it might be a little bit shorter than some of the other ones we've done, but I was thinking I was going to first explain the basics of what I was doing here with this mess in the ITD, and basically kind of show you what my thought process was and where I went wrong, all kinds of things. And then maybe I was thinking start setting up some basic ITD circuitry and the like, and then kind of, you know, in a more instructive manner, you know, the basics of how ITDs work, and then kind of work our way into developing the processes that I want to occur in the lab and such. First off here, I just kind of want to explain, you know, the ITD. This is also, I want to say, there's going to be a lot of rambling because this is not a planned out lesson at all. I just kind of decided maybe we'd go into it today and kind of look at it. First things first, this little guy right here, this is our little network bridge. You attach that to anything that is a container. You put that next to it, and that it'll you'll be able to interact with the contents of that container by slot number. So I think it goes left to right. You know, this is slot 1, 2, 3, 4, and it even works on machines that are otherwise. And you can put it next to it anywhere, as far as I understand it. But you want to be careful about where you're putting it, because you want to have some space between one container and others, like 2 spaces at least, so that you know you don't have conflicting item bridges, because if you have 2 things next to each other, they could accidentally interact. It's bad. Anyway, the item bridge also works with devices, extraction devices, and the like. So, for instance, this one is technically a container. It's also, you know, an extraction device. It's a machine that you use to process, but it will interact with these two. You can connect them to these if it doesn't already have that option built into it. I don't know if there's anything that actually does or not, but anyway, so I've got one connected to our sifter here, and technically I think it's weirdly connected to our this extraction lab as well, because they're too close. So it's a little weird, but anyway, you do all that to get it connected up, and that gives you these little slots that you can deal with here that tell you some stuff. This is actually the item bridge version 2. So we have our input slot and our output slot, and I believe these are our partial fill and stuff. Let's actually see. Yeah, upper. This tells you if the if this box is either partially full or entirely full. That's actually an electronic signal mechanic, so that's like for logic and stuff. But this right here, this is our ITD. This is our item transference device. What it does is this will interact with anything that has an item network slot on its wiring, and it can either draw items from that object or place them into that object, and there's all kinds of stuff. Let's take a look at what the item transference device is, because you can interact with the device itself. This is the item transference device settings. What you can do with this is you can, for instance, this one This one has an output set, so you type in a number here and then you add one, or you click this and you subtract it. This one has an output slot in it, and this will. So because this has no input slots, anything that it's drawing from, because the input slots are what it's drawn from. Let's see here. Let's go into our. This is an input, or this is the input slot right here of the item transference device. So it's actually drawing from, I think, these two boxes actually currently, but it takes from any slot, any and all slots into there, and places into output slot 1, and that's going into this extraction device right here, and you'll see that goes into the powder slot. Now, so basically what that does is it will, if there's any objects in here, it'll take them out, have them in here in a little buffer, and then transfer it into the first item slot here if there's any room. It will continuously do it if it's the same type. Like if you put sand in here and there's still sand in this box, it will keep trying to it'll keep refilling it. But it because of how this is set, because it only sets to output slot 1, it will only ever try to output to that slot. So it actually does it for both of these devices right here. So it's a pretty just simple thing. So let's actually set up here. Actually, before that, I wanted to kind of explain the situation, the problem that I was, or the idea that I was having. What I want to be able to do is automatically put things into a box, put sand, whatever, dirt, things that I want to get rid of that I just want processed into a single box, and it will sort it out and put it into its respective machine appropriately, depending on things required. So, like for instance, the centrifuge uses, I believe, only liquids. So this actually is. This right here is the storage device that I think I can put anything into, and this is also the output device too. But there's a whole bunch of storage device things here, like this one. This one only takes from the first 3 slots. I don't know which one that actually is. Which one is that coming from? And that turns things off and on. Oh, this actually does not take from the first 3 slots. There's a little eye down here that if you click that, it actually inverts this. So it will take from everything but these 3 slots, which means I believe this is the extraction device transference one. Anyway, the whole deal is that what I want it to do is automatically put liquids into here and sand into here and specifically powders into here. The problem with that is that the sorting for the system is a little bit tricky, and it doesn't, like, the sifter has very specific items that it can take, whereas the extraction device can take pretty much most of anything. But that's what I kind of tried to do. And also the sifter device works in much slower amounts. Like this does 1 item at a time, whereas the extraction device does 50, 40, 30, I think I may have explained this already, at a time, and sometimes that can come out with like weird dividends where it won't be able to process anymore. And this one also isn't able to process everything that the extraction device or the extraction lab can. So that was actually one of the problems that I would come into. You would have this get filled with random items that wouldn't be able to be extracted, and would just sit there, and it would just kind of clog up the line. And these would fill up with partial fills. So it would be like 23 items or something that wasn't enough to actually process. So each one of the inputs would fill up and not have any new stuff come through. So it would just kind of clog up the line. And also, like I was saying, this actually goes slower. So this is single items at a time, and this is 50. So these actually consume a lot more items than this. So what this whole area was to kind of split it up so you get like equal parts, or you get a smaller amount to go through these and that. But it was actually a big mess, and I figured it completely unnecessary, actually, because I can just draw from the same box, and this will draw, a certain amount at a time, and this will draw others, and I don't really have to worry about it too much. But yeah, that's what I was just going to explain what this whole situation was before I actually break it down. Which I'm doing right now, and breaking it down so that we can actually I can demonstrate a lot of the things I just explained. I know it was really long-winded and really not necessary to explain all of that right now. But let's go ahead and we'll do storage bridge. That's what it's called. We're going to put down 2 boxes. We're going to put down a storage bridge right next to each one. This is just a basic rundown of how the system kind of works. And let's see, where is our transference device? Right here. So we only need 1 for the moment. But the idea is that we want to take things from this crate, put them into this crate. And we can do that really simply, or we can do it, we can actually add some more logic. Like we can actually, what we could do is we could put items in here, and that corresponds to this area. So this says that basically it will only take items that are currently exact Mantisi tables. So if we have that, move it over. But we'll get to that in just a second. We'll actually just demonstrate the basic behavior of it right now by wiring it up. This slot on the item transference device right here, this one is the this one's switch input. So this is a signal input. This will turn it on and off. This is the item network input, and actually I can scan it just to kind of show how it is. So input 1 is the power switch that will turn it, activate it or deactivate it, and the second one is the input for the item network. So that's what we'll do is we'll say, because the red one here is the output for this item network, it actually corresponds to that, which we go to here. So we say output from this box, input or output item network from this box to the input to the item transference device. So the item transference device will draw from this. Any input will come from here. Output comes out of here and will go into here. So you see how that works? It will take items from here, put them into here. So let's demonstrate. Basically, I take these lights, they disappear. Suddenly, they're in this box. I can take them out and go like that. And and then we can also, let's see, I've got a switch right here, and we can kind of demonstrate this action as well. Let's go ahead and we've got our output for the switch. Let's put it on the input right there, and we'll turn it off. So what that does is that makes it so when I put something in here, let's see how this is working actually. Oh, that's on. Okay. Let's try that again. This is the offsetting. So now it doesn't transfer it. See, it stays in here until we hit that. Now it transferred it over. Pretty basic stuff. Just an on switch for the thing, getting things moving. Now, what we'll do is let's see, what do I have a few of? We'll do torches. Half torches, we'll do 1 torch, we'll say exact type. Okay? And we're leaving it off for now, just so we can fill up the box and demonstrate properly how this works. So we've got all these things in here. This is set to only transfer a torch. The exact type is 1, so item slot here is exact type, or exact right there. So when we turn this on, torches are gone. They've reappeared over here. And this can be done for, I don't actually, I can't remember what type and category and stuff are. In fact, I don't even know what inverse, oh, that's a switch. So this inverse logic, what that'll do is the same thing as here. So this will now take everything but torches, which we can actually demonstrate as well. Let's put our torches back in there. Take them out of here. Better demonstrates. So we've got all this stuff in here. We've got this with the torch exact inverse logic, which means that it will do everything but torches. Only the torches are left. Everything's over here. So just a quick kind of example of how that logic works. Now, the other thing too, we'll just kind of show off really quick is how output slots or input slots work and output slots. We'll kind of do them at the same time. Let's say input slot 3. Why not? We'll add that, and then we'll say output slots 2, 3, 4. It automatically increments, which is really nice. And then so it will draw input from 3, or input slot 3, and then put them into 2, 3, or 4 on this one. So what it will do is it will draw from this slot right here, and put it into this slot, or this slot. If I'm getting it correctly, it could be up to down. I'm not entirely sure. But let's try it out. So I've turned it off. We'll just throw some things in there and see what it does when we turn it on. Boom. So there was only one thing in slot 3 on this side, so it only put it into, and so it only put one in here, and it put it starting in slot 2. Now, if we were to take something and move it to slot 3, suddenly it's over here in the second slot, or the third slot. Now let's do it one more time, and one more time. You'll notice that it doesn't draw from here the last time because all of these output slots are full. However, if I took this out, it brings over the other one that we put in the third slot there. So that's basically just how it works there. So when you're dealing with inputs and machines and stuff, you want to put them directly into the input slots. Now the thing is to understand that there's no specific, like, for devices, they're all just the numbered slots. They don't, input output stuff on when you're talking about this does not refer to the device you're drawing it from. It refers to just what counts as an input slot in the device that is coming into the input for the item network transference device. So all of these are just numbered slots as if it were a box. So this is slot 1, 2, 3, 4, so on. This is slot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so on. It's just important to note that that's how it works. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So when you want to put into an input, you'd put it into slot 1, or here when you want to put them into these slots, you put them in 1, 2, and 3, and it would work just like that. So just like this. So anything put into this would go into 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3 in those devices there. So let's see. The other thing we can do here is we can do. We'll turn this off. And to demonstrate it, I'll show you exactly how invert works. We'll put invert for input slots here. We'll take these guys back out. And actually, you know what? Well, yeah, it's fine. We'll just use that. So these are all the slots here. It normally would take from 3, but since we've inverted that, what will happen is when we flip this switch, it will take everything but that third slot, if it can. The problem here is that it only outputs to 3 slots. Now, if we were to shut this off and go like this, so, it only outputs to those 3 slots, so they filled up. It couldn't take the rest of them. Now, if we invert this as well, we'll refill this up, and then switch it on. It took everything but slot 3 because it fills up everything but slots 2, 3, and 4. On that one. So that's basically how that works. It's once you kind of get it, it's a pretty basic deal. Now even split and slot split, these are related, I believe, to how it outputs, how the item transference device outputs, because it's possible to both draw from multiple devices and multiple devices and boxes, and output to multiple devices and boxes. So what you can do with the even split is, what it will do is it will take stacks that are high enough to split them evenly, and cut them in half or whatever, and put them into multiple different boxes. As far as I understand it, we can actually try that one out to test it. We'll go like this. We'll turn off the system. Take everything out of here. Actually, just why not take all? We'll do the same here. And we'll go into this. We'll take all of these out. Take out the invert. Take that out. And we'll do 2 boxes. We'll do another box. We'll put one right on top of this guy. And put the storage bridge far enough away so that it doesn't interfere. Excuse me. Interfere. And we'll put the output also to this guy. So what this should do when we do even split is it should take if we have 792 bits of dirt, when we activate this, it should split them. Oh, guess not. Now, the problem with the problem that I see with the item transference device is that you need a device to draw it from anything. So if you have the item transference device putting something into, let's say, a stack splitter, or that, you need to have another transference device to take it from the stack halver. Excuse me. Stack splitter does even more intricate stuff. It cuts it into ones, tens, and hundreds. But let's put a stack halver in. Halver. So this is an output device like that. So it will take a stack and put half here and half there. We'll actually put half and the remainder here, as far as I understand it. Let's test it out. So we got 803. Yeah. So it gives half and then half plus the remainder. So this is slot 1, 2, and 3. But you have to have an ITD to take it from here and put it into your respective area as well. That's kind of where the things get a little bit trickier, because it can be hard to come across enough materials to make an item transference device, because it requires a teleport core. Each one requires a teleport core. But let's demonstrate just the basic of how the haver would work if you want to split things between two boxes. We'll do that pretty quick here. We need 2 transference devices, and we need our haver, which is right here. So let's connect it up right here. So output from that one goes in the input here, output, input, output, input, and then we'll do... Oh crap, that's right. We actually need to... We need 2 separate ones to draw them to their specific containers. So yeah, things can get a little bit tricky, as you can see. So you take this one, goes to here, but it also goes to here. And these specifically will draw from a specific slot here, and this one will output to a specific slot. So this will output to slot 1, which is the first slot here. This one will draw from slot 2, and this one will draw from slot 3. And then, so output just like that. And then we'll just do that right there. This is the output signal, this is the input signal. So you can actually have a signal come in to switch this back, as far as I can tell. Let's see if there's... Can even be toggled when its input node is on. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay. 2 and 3. So let's test this out. We'll split this. Is this on? Okay, it is now. So we'll do our same thing. Put this in here. Goes out. Goes through this, is drawn out, and then... What the crap? Oh, is it doing the thing? I think it might be doing the thing. So it might... that whole section may have been a problem because of how/where I put these boxes. It might have counted that whole... that stack of boxes as one entire box. Let's try it this way. Let's connect it up like this, and I might have to go back and change out how things are presented a little bit, because that may have changed how everything worked out. Let's try this out. Yep, okay, so that splits it up. Let's go back and try having the stack with the with the ITD here. And we'll take this out. We're gonna have the stack with the ITD entirely. We're gonna take out this whole section right here. and see if it inputs properly. So I think having things in contact with each other confuses the issue just a little bit. All right. So we've got that. This is even split already. Let's make sure that this is connected up properly. Okay, so we'll try that. Try that. Take these back. And I think what even split will do is actually leave the remainder in the box. If it does it at all. Weird. Yeah, so it left the remainder in the box. It didn't even split between the two, which means it still occupies a slot here. And so this is how it's supposed to work. And that whole last thing was a demonstration on how you don't want to have boxes right next to each other, etc., etc., etc. That is good. I'm glad we sussed that out. I might just cut that whole section out because this is how it's supposed to be. But again, don't have your containers right next to each other because I think it clearly gets confused. It gets confused on the size, the position, or maybe it's not confused and it's supposed to work that way so that you can have a whole stack of things and only have to have one storage bridge. That might also be how it is, and that, you know, that's good enough. Oh wait, now that I think about it, I think that the extraction device actually has an item network output. I think that's what the red part is. Because it doesn't require power to work. And the blue is a switch on and off. That sounds right to me. Anyway. So you can split things and transfer the remainder with this. Or not, and you can split things and do an even split here. A slot split, I don't know. We can test that out because now that it's not one device, we can do... we can test this out to see if it does... if it splits the slots between them. The slot split, let's turn it on. Nope, I guess not. Yeah, can't tell you what that even does then. Slot split, not sure about. Even split does split it between boxes, but you have to make sure that they're different boxes. Okay, now we'll cover just a little bit more with this whole situation. Basically, starting out by, because what I want to do is I want to start building into the idea of how I want things processed otherwise. And that's what we'll do is we'll start with taking out a sifter device here. So I'm going to change things around quite a bit. We're going to build this whole area down. We'll put a sifter device down. This one actually requires power, so we'll need to draw it from the grid. Which means I think I can actually draw it from over here. Let's do that right now. So power output, directly input there. And this might actually have a... See, the thing about this one is, this one has a network output, I'm pretty sure. I think that's what the red is right here, is the network output. But the network output, but it requires network input as well, which is why you have to have a storage bridge on it, I think. I'm not, you know, don't quote me on any of this. So, and also that's a very poor position for it, because it overlaps with other things. Actually, let's have it right next to it. And that's a V2, so I don't want to use that one right now. So we'll do that. Okay, so that one's connected to that. And we want to also have our... That's going to be our input box, and then we'll have exit materials. So we'll do... This is just a quick just example in a situation. Let's do that. and then we'll put them on that side. Again, it doesn't really matter what side the storage bridge is on, or, you know, as long as it's contacting the box, and also it's not anywhere, the box is not anywhere near any other boxes, or the bridge itself is not near any other boxes. It has to be, as far as I know, at least one space away from anything else. Just gotta be careful about that, because clearly that was a problem. Let's see, we need transference device, and this is just basic, this is just gonna be basic input-output situation. Then I'm gonna kind of show you sort of a logic thing that I had going, that I was that I read about, that I got an idea from the internet. I'll actually have to look it up and see if I can figure out who it was, so I can give them a little bit of credit. This is our output, input, output, and we got to put this into our storage input, and then we can do this as our output there, like that. So it's all connected like this. This is getting power from over there. But let's configure. Let's actually set this up so this controls that as well. But let's configure our output, or our input-output slots here. Now our output slots, there's only one slot we want to put things into, and that is slot 1. So anything that's going to be drawn from this box is going to go into slot 1 of this one, as long as it can. And then this will only draw from everything but slot 1. So it will not draw this one, but everything else in here, and then we'll put it into this box. Let's it's off currently, yes. Yeah. So let's test this out. We'll do let's see if I can figure out a titanium panel, sandstone. All right, so what happens is it will draw from here, put it into the slot right here, and it's running. Did I put it in here? Oh, shit. Input slots. It only puts it into slot. It put it into here, everything but slot 1. I'm sure some of you saw that. And we're like, what are you doing? Let's try that again. So what it will do is put it in the input slot here, and we'll try to process it. Now this presents another problem, actually. Let's put it in a little bit different order here. Let's take this one out, because it'll take the next one, put it in there. This is one powder that can be processed, dirt. Now, sandstone, on the other hand, cannot be, and that presents the next problem. So, like, it's processing stuff, and it's already taking things out and putting them into this box over here. See, we already got some sulfur. So, the problem that we come across, as demonstrated, is what happens when you're processing one thing, and it goes to the next thing, and it can't process that. Now, that it processes well, but let's put this in there, and say it gets through that. Now it can't process it, and you'll see, even if something else is in here, it won't move things out of the way. Like, it's just stopped. It's clogged up, essentially. You actually have to remove this to get it to go. Also, why is it not... I don't need any of this stuff. Get out of here. Get out of here! So, alright. That should take everything. Put it over here. That works out nicely. That clears out our extraction device. Sorry about that. I forgot to actually remove that slot. Anyway, so that presents a problem. What happens if this cannot produce anything? And the trick to that is actually running a logic check. What you do is we're gonna need some more transference devices here. I'm gonna move some things around. Actually, let's leave that one in there because I don't want to do anything yet. We'll put this switch up here. So what we'll do is we'll actually have a temporary storage. And the temporary storage will have a check to see whether or not it actually has anything inside of it. And if it does not, if it's empty, if nothing's being drawn from one to the other, it will attempt to remove a single time, will endeavor to get it to a single time remove everything. Let me get all my circuit stuff here, because this is all stuff that I'm going to want to have, probably. It will attempt to remove everything from here and put it in the result container. So this is what we'll do. We'll take this out, take that out. So this is empty. Make sure that this is wired up to have this right here. And what we'll do is we have a single slot storage. Let's see, where's my other ones? Stack splitter. This is capacity sensor. So we have a single slot storage. We have a capacity sensor. So what capacity sensor does is, if I remember correctly, it only has two. Okay, yeah. So capacity sensor has two little outputs. It connects to any storage box around it, just like just like a storage bridge does, and it tells you whether it's partially full or it's completely full. And actually, if it's basically what you would want to do is you'd want to have both outputs to a specific spot, saying, you know, if you want to check to see if there's anything in there at all, you'd want to have both complete and partial outputting to that, so that you can make sure that you know, clear all bases. Because if you had a full stack, I don't know how it would work exactly. Anyway, single slot, what it does is it has one slot, clearly. It only stores one item, and this one actually does not have to have a storage bridge attached to it because it's already an item network box. So it has an input and an output for an item network. We do need another item transference device because we have to have this one take from that and put it into our single slot. So we'll cancel that wire right here, and we'll have that output here, and we'll have our new single slot output from there, single slot from there to here, and we'll just have it. This one doesn't have to have any settings because it only can draw from one slot, and also can only and it will output to every slot, so it doesn't need anything special. This one remains the same because it's only drawing from everything but slot 1 in this, in our sifter device, and putting it into our single slot, and then transferring out. So this is just an intermediary thing. It takes stuff from here, puts it into this single slot, and then it's drawn out again. But what happens is, we want to make sure that if there's nothing, if nothing is going through this, if nothing's moving through this, that we remove everything from this guy right here and put it into this crate. So we'll put another storage device, or another transference device that can draw from this, but will actually have it switch dependent. Now we have that capacity sensor right here, so we got the two things right there, and what we can do is we have a countdown delay timer, and this only activates when its input node remains live for a set amount of time. So we want it to output true from the partial and complete fill when we want it to, you know, it'll be true when those are basically false. So we want to transfer that through a NOT gate, which will invert the signal. Normally, if there's anything in there, it'll be true on either of those because there's something in there, but we want it to be true when there's nothing. So a little complicated, but it can be a little complicated if you don't have a background in computational stuff. But first, so what we do is that will detect let's see. So when there's nothing in there, this is going to be true. And we can just kind of give an example of this. The output from that. So it's true currently, right? It's true currently. And let's also have these control all of these devices as well. So this won't automatically, when I put an example item in here, you see the light is on. Now the light is off. Because there's something in there, there's no signal coming from it because it would say, you know, it's partial fill, goes to a NOT gate and turns it on. Now normally it would you know, turn the light on. It's a complicated situation. Anyway, now there's nothing in there. The light's on. So what we want that to do is, because this doesn't always produce items, you know, it takes a few seconds for an item to be produced. And this hopefully will work. We'll see, because it can take even a lot longer than that. What we can do is we put a countdown delay timer in here. And what that does is, when it's active, when that signal is active, when there is nothing in there, it will count down from 5 and then send a signal, and then send an active signal there. So when something is in there, that deactivates. When something isn't, it'll count down to 5 seconds as long as there's nothing in there. And then boom, it will send an active signal. We'll give an example here by outputting to that. So there's something in there, the light's off. Now, nothing in there, waits for 5 seconds before turning on the light. And now there's something in there, so it doesn't do anything. All right, so now what we want it to do is, we don't want the light to stay off, because we don't want the ITD to keep drawing, to keep trying to remove stuff from here. We only want it to draw stuff from there the one time, in theory. I haven't actually figured this out. So what we want is a pulse transmitter. And what this does is it will transmit a single one-time pulse whenever it's activated. So if it's turned on, once it gets turned on, it'll send out a pulse and then turn off again, but it will still remain active until it's turned off and then back on again. So let's link that up like that, and then we'll link it up to the light. Just to give an example. All right, so it's currently off, right? We'll open this up. Let's get into easier to see mode. It's because there's something in there. It's fine. It's not activating. Now there's nothing in there. It's gonna wait for 5 seconds, and then you'll watch the light. Single pulse off, just like that. So in theory, this hasn't been tested out yet, so I can't prove any of this yet. That will control this guy right here. This will draw from here and out to here. It will take everything that's left in here and move it to there. So what we're gonna do is we will test it out right now, just to see if this actually works. I don't know if it's going to. But we got to do it with materials that are able to move across the lines here. We got some loose silt, all that, and see, that turns everything on. Off, okay. And let's test this out. So we'll do just a few loose silt, then something that can't, with a few more something that can be processed, and then again with something that can't, and just kind of see how it goes. So it should take from this, process it, won't be able to process this, so it should cut it out. It actually may or may not work, because there might not be enough to get something out of this. Let's try a different situation here. Do sand, then enough dirt. So let's try this out. What am I doing? What did I do wrong? Output slot. I feel really dumb right now. So it took everything through already? Okay. I did something funky, I'm guessing. Oh, I know. Do I? Do I know? Let's try that again. Just basic. Let's get it. See if this just sets everything through or not. Nope, doesn't leave everything in here. So that means it must be taken out. Oh, right. Input. Output. Let's see. Yeah, this is funky. This is going to require a little bit of testing, I think. Just a little bit. It's powered by that. Should come in here. Let's see, output slots 1. Let's try it without that. Just see how this works. Oh my god, what happened? I don't even know what happened here. What are you attached to, man? This is a big fat mess right here. It might require the appropriate slots to be on the correct side. I don't know. Either that or I'm doing something weird. Anyway, I'll have to figure this out for next time, but it's a little bit complicated. We'll work with it, and hopefully I'll get the correct thing done for later. Anyway, this is a good place to break it off. Yeah, you know the drill. If you like me, if you like the channel, if you want to help out a little bit, like, comment, subscribe. If you noticed anything stupid that I did, or got any tips or tricks, go ahead and throw those in the comments. I really do appreciate, I really do appreciate hearing from you, and it's always great to know something that I'm doing wrong, you know what I mean? Anyway, with that, thanks for checking out the video. From my house to yours, I'm John the Neighbor Kid, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye now.